Hi, my name is Brandon Rayner, and I play trombone in the rock band Ruin the Night. We're recording this Saturday, July 25th, 2020. Now, I love people, conversations, and media in its different forms. I love music, dialogue driven plays, musicals, commentaries, and talk shows. Now, life's a balance, right? So, for all the stuff we take in, there has to be an outlet for it. At least that's how I feel. It sort of guilts me in a way. If you're scrolling social media and read 100 posts for every maybe one you post, where are the other 99 coming from? We probably stop caring where it comes from a little bit. I mean, we're provided for without providing much ourselves most of the time. So where does that leave us? I digress, an old habit. What I'm trying to say is that doing something like this, talking to like minded people about what's going on in their lives and how they're getting along in this new world we're living in, has been therapeutic for me. I also feel like I'm sort of redefining what being in a band means to me as well, and how to share ideas and ideals within the context of a band without being confined to just lyrics. Joining me today is someone who's a fellow content provider. She has an extensive catalog of YouTube videos where she gets people excited about music. Her latest endeavor is Bumblebee Radio, where you can listen in 24/7 at bumblebeeradio.com. Kristen, thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. So starting off, what is Bumblebee Radio?
It's an internet radio station. So whereas traditional radio is broadcast over the air, AM or FM, my day job is on AM radio. This is something that you can access through the internet anywhere you are with your phone or your computer.
So the process, you did this in the midst of a pandemic. What was the process of it getting off the ground?
Well, it was something that I wanted to do for a long time. And it was one of those projects that, it's like a constant daydream in the back of your head, but you never find the time to do it. It's just like, I'll get around to that someday, but it just seems so overwhelming that you never find the time for it until a pandemic happens. We've never seen anything like this in our lifetime, what's going on now. And I think there are probably a lot of other people out there that had some big lifetime sized projects that they were never getting around to that maybe they have now.
Yeah, definitely. I know for me, doing stuff around the house, just I'm like Bob Vila now over here all of a sudden. I actually heard about your station when you started giving our song Voices some love on Bumblebee Radio. How did you come across the band and that song in particular? How did you come across Ruin the Night, and what do you like about it?
Well, so to start at the beginning, how I found you guys was I met Chris last spring. Both of us were judges for Angel Wood's Rock and Roll Rumble.
Oh, okay.
At once in Somerville. We became friends on Facebook, and then I saw his post on Facebook about the song Voices. I listened to it immediately, and I messaged him. I said, "Hey, could you get me a copy of this for my radio station? I want to put this on the air." And he's like, "Let me talk with the rest of the guys in the band, and I'll let you know." And a couple of days later, I had a copy of it.
I really love this radio station too. Bumblebee Radio it's really cool. I was listening to it on my desktop, and you can like search bands as they're kind of being played. Like one in particular, "Ride the Wave" by Greenpeace. I think that's excellent.
They're from Lowell.
Yeah, I saw they're local. I was pleased to find out that they're kind of like a contemporary band from Massachusetts. Like that's cool.
And they were a band that kind of found me. So I was doing my segments with used to be called Knock Knock New Music for my YouTube segments. And I got a comment from someone in Greenpeace. They said, "Hey, you should check out Greenpeace." And I said, "Oh, I will." And so I went over to their Facebook page, did a little more research, started to find songs from them, and started adding them.
You put up other bands, local bands that you get to listen to them, and I'm able to know that band through you, and essentially they sought you out. So I think that's a really cool thing.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
I also really like the Incredible Casuals, who are also from Massachusetts. I've never heard of them. They've been around 40 years, essentially. How much of your goal with sharing music is maintaining that thread of local music?
It's a big part of it because I've been involved with trying to help local bands for a long time, stretching back to where I'm from, which is Cape Cod. That's where the Incredible Casuals are from. That might be why you hadn't heard of them before. They basically had a Sunday afternoon residency at the Wellfleet Beachcomber that went on for 25 years. They were there every Sunday afternoon. So if you're not familiar with the Wellfleet Beachcomber, it's basically a nightclub on top of the sand dunes at Cahoon Hollow Beach in Wellfleet. So people would be at the beach all day, and then they would just pick up their stuff, climb up the dune into the beachcomber, and start drinking. And on Sunday afternoons, there was a band to go with that. But that was a lot of fun when they were doing that for sure.
Your Massachusetts roots go back to Cape Cod, where you were host and program director for WKKL.
Yep.
What was your big takeaway from your stint there?
So that was my first radio station, college radio. Oh my God, I loved being in college radio. That was the most fun I've ever had in broadcasting. Every other day, this gigantic plastic mail bin would arrive in the station full of new records and new CDs that were sent to us for free from the record label, in order to try to get us to play them. And then they would follow up with phone calls. Sometimes that could get a little lengthy in terms of weeding through all the phone calls of people following up on what they sent. But I mean, just to have this whole gigantic mail bin full of new stuff that you'd never heard before. And for me, I love discovering something new. I'm not, for whatever reason, my brain is wired a little differently from other people, where I don't necessarily respond to music that triggers memories of like my past. A lot of people are wired that way, where a song has a lot more meaning to them because it was a song that was played at their prom, or it was a song that was played around the time they got married. I have very few of those musical connections in my brain for whatever reason. I just love hearing something I've never heard before.
I am wired the other way. Like, I do kind of form memories through music sometimes, and it's very difficult for me sometimes to go out on a limb and listen to something new. It's good to have people like you that can see things like from a new perspective all the time, and give things a shot from nothing. So that's
well, don't get me wrong. I do still like my Syd Barrett and Radiohead records and put them on from time to time.
I think I saw High and Dry on your list, right? That's what's playing right now in Bumblebee.
Oh, there's a ton of Radiohead on Bumblebee Radio.
I love Radiohead, of course. So good. Do you want to talk about Subversive Green Rhino? That was another endeavor of yours leading up to Bumblebee Radio. What was your mission for that?
So Subversive Green Rhino started out as a traditional print zine back in 1991. A friend of mine named Temple Frazier, him and his girlfriend actually started that zine way back when. She was a musician in a number of bands on the Cape. Her name was Anna Whiteley. And the two of them started the print zine in 91. And then around 1996, I became the designer of the first website for the zine, and then took over as a co-editor with Temple of the print zine and the online version of it as well. So, and that was taking whatever creative output people wanted to hand us, and we reprinted it and handed out copies of it. We put a stack of them out in Newbury Comics. I think Strawberry Records was gone at that point. Yes, it was. Prodigal Son, Records, yeah. There was a Prodigal Son Coffee House in Hyannis. We had copies of the zine available there as well, and a few other locations too.
I was going to say that the website also had poetry on it too. You would take.
Yep, we printed people's poems, short stories, artwork. We tried to reproduce photos as best we could, but we were basically going to Staples and using their Xerox machine to print
cool.
the pages.
Yep. You know, over the years, you've had websites all throughout, you know, the last, you know, X amount of years, you know, like, how important is it for you to have a website of your own? BumblebeeRadio.com, it's its own radio station. You probably could have used different social media outlets to piece together what you're doing, but same with us, Ruin the Night, RuinTheNight.com. That means a lot to me too. Doesn't it feel more personal, like they're coming to you and not just like on Facebook? Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think part of that for me is the fact that I'm old school. So I like some of the more traditional things. I like the fact that I have a internet presence that's completely under my control. Bringing people to it, tricky. It's always tricky. Promotion, I think, is one of the toughest aspects of all of this that I'm doing in terms of, you know, how to find people, how to reach people. But definitely having my own website, I have to have it. I have to have it. I couldn't do it just on social media.
All right. Well, finally, I mean, what can we expect from Bumblebee Radio in the days, weeks, and months ahead? What do you got? What do you got on the tap?
Oh, I have a bunch of stuff. So I have like a 6-hour window in the midday where I can do things. So Bumblebee Brunch will probably be the first thing you see that comes out for me. But beyond that, I would like to, in terms of, I think you asked me when we were kind of talking, doing a little preliminary discussion about this, whether there was something, I'm trying to remember how you put it, challenging, something new for me. And yes, there is. At some point, I would like to get, as far as the radio station is involved, into doing artist interviews. Interviewing people, coming up with the right questions to ask, sounding intelligent about the questions I ask. Those are the kinds of things that worry me a little bit.
Yeah, me
too. But I think it would be fun to actually take that challenge on and kind of like face that fear down a little bit.
I think you'd be great at it. I mean, you definitely, you know, the presence is there, you know, like all the past work it speaks for itself, and you know, you've really you've done a great job, I think, of
doing thank you. And there are a couple other things in conjunction with interviews, in studio performances. I would love to figure out a way to do that at some point. Probably not when the radio station's in my living room. I think I'd have to find a slightly larger space.
Like a tiny desk performance or something, right?
Yeah, it would. This would be like a super tiny desk performance. Right. But and then at some point, I would love to have a jazz show on the station. Maybe not hosted by me. I like jazz a lot. I've started to get more immersed in it in my older years, but I definitely don't consider myself a jazz expert. So I might pick somebody else out that really is and see if they'd want to do a show on the station.
Thanks for sitting down. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about with Bumblebee Radio, or?
Give it a shot if you're out there listening. This sounds interesting. BumblebeeRadio.com. It's on 24/7, and you'll hear my voice coming back soon. Hopefully doing a live show.
You know, it's great to hear the music, but to hear why. And
oh yeah, and believe me, it's on the station because I'm enthusiastic about it, because I'm excited about it, because I want people to know about it. So I really do like that aspect of being live behind the microphone and telling everyone, this is why I'm excited about this artist, and this is why you should be excited too. And so I'm looking forward to getting back to that.
Well, as an artist myself, and with Ruin the Night, we really do appreciate your enthusiasm for it, because it's hard to find on a local level, you know, like so to have you kind of in our corner playing the music, like, we really appreciate it. And Kristen, thanks so much for taking the time this afternoon, and really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me, Brandon.
Of course, yeah, and you know, have a great day.
Oh, you too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.